Next up in our tiny JRPG series is longtime director Hiroshi Takai.
How are you going to get more subscribers if you only upload 2 times a year?
Thank you for coming. Let's start with the most recent project. How about Dragon Quest IX?
Number.
Octopath Traveler.
Number.
Persona 5.
Number.
Tales of Berseria.
Number.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Scarlet Nexus.
Number. No, I am the one that directed Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh, not a fan. Do you have any new games?
No, but we are working on Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Man, I was supposed to be making this video like all the way back in June of 2023, but here we go. Final Fantasy is such a legendary franchise that I can't glaze enough. It's got some of the most iconic characters in gaming, and each game tries something new that keeps each entry fresh. Sometimes it's good, and then it's, not so good. The series started off so simple. You're a group of heroes that gotta save the world because some rocks are destroying the planet and shit. Go explore, good luck. Oh, and there's time travel, too. And then the series got more complex as the time went on, new gameplay systems that would stay with the franchise for the next few decades, and stories that got bigger and better with each game. Okay, maybe it got a little too complex. The fuck is a Lassie? A Falsi? Grand Pulse? What? I'm checking my pulse how boring this fucking level is. Are these girls friends or are they something else? You know what I'm saying? Where genre-defining titles like FF7, 9, and 10 told interesting stories with characters you gave a shit about and gameplay that challenged your decision-making, Square eventually wanted to go a more cinematic route. Hence why we got Final Fantasy XIII, a glorified movie set in a depressing world where everyone just mopes, and the hardest thing you'll be doing is trying to stay away. Reminds me of a game that came out not too long ago. Why can I not think of the name? You see, 13 arguably marked the downfall of this franchise to so many people. Now, I don't hate 13, and I actually like both of its sequels, but they're not great. This time period was really an experimental phase for Final Fantasy. It was like it was going through its edgy teenage years, like, again. Final Fantasy Versus 13 was a thing, and that was a shit show. I wish we still got it, by the way, but then again, Kingdom Hearts 4 kind of looks like Versus 13 a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And Kingdom Hearts 3 was taking way too long to come out. Like, way too long. Like, what the fuck, Square? And then 14's launch was a complete mess, and then 15 released incomplete, and then we got Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII Remake was good. Alright, video over. No, but really, the game was such a breath of fresh air for the franchise after so many stinkers and so much mid. The story was somewhat faithful, but of course they changed shit and they did this Fate stuff, which was But overall, they hit all the emotional beats. Midgar was beautiful, the music was perfect, and the combat was peak. This is how you make a good modern combat system for this franchise, not this. Oh, we'll get to you, I promise. 7 Remake was a good sign of things to come, and when FF16 got announced, myself and others were frothing at the mouth to see what they do next. When I tell you, I was one of those people that was already calling the game peak based off all of the info that was coming out and all of the trailers that came out. The series was finally going back to its roots, and with Final Fantasy VII Remake as foundation, we were going to be eating so good. Part 2 of the remake was on the way too. Final Fantasy was so back. And then I got my hands on Final Fantasy 16. And my god, I was so wrong. Final Fantasy 16 hurts because I could see the potential. This game had more potential than Megami Fushiguro, Potential Man himself. The first few hours of the game really hooked me in with the story that felt like a big budget film production. The characters were interesting, the battles were sick, the combat was fun, but then once I got to a certain point, it started to just get repetitive. I was kind of getting scared, not gonna lie. Hopefully the game picks up, I thought, and Jesus Christ, I was wrong. The gameplay just didn't change. It didn't challenge me, it was too fucking easy. Oh yeah, let's save the hardest difficulty for when you beat the game. The characters were just blander than the average British meal. They all just stand around whispering and talking all quiet and being sad about shit. The villain just sucks. The characters that would have been good villains are barely in the goddamn game. I don't care about the fucking characters. How did you make a female character this fucking lame? How? Jill is one of the most embarrassing examples of a female character I've ever seen in media to date. The story takes so long to get to the fucking point. I get things like story are very subjective, and even more so than anything else I'm about to discuss in this video, so I'm not going to be going too deep into it, but for me, I don't feel anything from this story. The pacing is just atrocious, and it grinds to a halt after every single major story beat. You know how in like other games, when you slow down after a major story moment by getting to a new town, you explore, or maybe you do some side content like a card game to catch your breath or something like that, or even some like comic relief moments would fill this time up too. But here it's just go back to base, brood, talk about what happened, walk around to talk to everyone about being sad, fast travel to all the other areas to pick up some bullshit for this character, fight a recycled enemy you fought 100 times, go back, talk some more, then continue the story. The side quests are so generic, it's as generic as they get. Maybe you'll get some world building here and there, but it's just generic MMO bullshit. Oh, wait. Why did they think bringing MMO devs was a good idea? I've never in my life wanted to get through a game so fast just so I could be done with it. Even after all this yapping, I still haven't even touched the gameplay. It's trash. They really thought they did something by making this knockoff DMC combat that just ended up being less engaging and poopy. Here's the loop. Hit the sponge boss for 30 minutes until it gets staggered. There's no elemental weaknesses to exploit or interesting attacks to prepare for, just stab and dodge, baby. Spam your abilities, and that's it. Oh, and do a quick time event sometimes like it's 2004 again, like you're playing Resident Evil. I kid you not, that's how the game plays the entire way through. See, this game hoodwinked so many people into thinking it was good because it's Game of Thrones-ass story and the icon battles. Because sparkling lights make brain go, ooh. The soundtrack, one of the things that everyone, even people that don't even play Final Fantasy, can be like, yeah, this is a banger, turn this shit up. It's not trash, but it's just forgettable. I can't remember a single track aside from the battle music in this game. That's just criminal for this franchise. The equipment is a joke too. You know the feeling when you're exploring in a Final Fantasy game or any other JRPG and you find new gear, you go to a new town, you see what kind of stuff they got in the shop. Remember picking up those new weapons or armor and comparing it to your current gear so you can decide how you want to build your character? Even the most experimental of them, when you could customize your party, deciding what gear holy shit. Deciding what gear like deciding what gear they're gonna wear, which members you're gonna take the most, none of that is here. The best you get is a dog. Very cool. Accessories in this game are a crime against humanity. No accessories that prevent status effects or anything like that. Oh, by the way, there's no status effects or elemental weaknesses, just so you know. You know, like the staple of every single fucking RPG known to man. There's no legendary weapons to find, no optional areas with good loot, or explorable, anything. It's just empty wastelands. You'll have mountains of gil and nothing to spend it on because everything in the shops can just be crafted or found on the ground every 5 steps you take outside. There's no decision making whatsoever to make in this game. It's just walk here, do this thing, fight this easy boss, watch a movie. People use the excuse that it's a story-focused game. Of course the RPG elements are going to be toned down. Toned down and light RPG elements is an understatement. How about this game just has no fucking content? Final Fantasy 16 offers literally nothing. And I mean nothing. Using the it's story-focused excuse is so lazy, and it doesn't make any sense given this franchise's history of blending good stories with fun gameplay. It's possible to have both, and this franchise has done it plenty of times before. How could anyone in their right mind think this is the best Final Fantasy by far? Or one of the greatest entries in the series? We already got this game already, and it was called Final fucking Fantasy 13. Jesus Christ, this game isn't good. Let's fast forward to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game came out not too long ago. Now, I know the story comparison isn't necessarily fair because it's adapting an established story, but it even adds new storylines that keep you guessing what's going to happen next. Each scene uses its cast of characters to its full potential, and it makes you relate to them. They joke with each other, they laugh, they get sad, actual human emotions. As you keep exploring and do the main story, and especially side content, this group of weird people and a dog and a cat feel like a believable group of homies that got each other's backs. Every side quest, I mean every side quest, builds the relationship between everyone more and even fleshes out more backstory for them than the original did. This game isn't afraid to just have fun. It's got such goofy scenarios and characters that are super over the top, but it's just so fun and genuine. The world of Final Fantasy VII is depressing, even in the original, but it doesn't stop it from being a video game and playing with ideas and playing with its world. The side content is so much fun too. Sure, it can get repetitive at times when you're doing the exploring of each areas, but at the same time, each area has new gimmicks when exploring, new things to find, gorgeous environments that you can really actually explore. If you see it, you can actually go to it, like some Breath of the Wild type shit. There's a mini game for every single thing. There's a mini game for just picking up a mushroom for one side quest. And let's not even talk about the Gold Saucer, the hub of mini games. There's Queen's Blood, an optional card game that has its own storyline, proto-relic quests with a Gilgamesh story, different chocobo types, environmental gimmicks, data battles, combat challenges, cities that you can actually explore, secrets, crafting, skill grid, objectives that are risky and they reward you with XP and gear, equipment that has different benefits, weapons that have their own unique skills to master, plenty of materia. And we haven't even talked about the combat yet. If Final Fantasy VII Remake was the best combination of turn-based combat and modern action, then Rebirth is perfection. Combo attacks that you can use for utility like getting yourself out of danger or building pressure, new synergy attacks that you can customize to your preferred party that can do things like raise limit levels or gives more ATB bars, and they look cool as fuck too. The fact that you can even customize your party in general, change it to fit your playstyle or having an advantage over a certain type of fight that's giving you a problem, is just a breath of fresh air. This franchise hasn't done this kind of thing since God knows how long. You guys get the point though, right? I could keep glazing Rebirth and go over how much more content this game has over 16.
I just want to suck your dick. And they're like, nope, nope.
Rebirth is a complete experience that feels like it was really handled with care. And the crazy thing is, I'm still not even done with the game. I'm 50 hours in and I'm only maybe at the halfway point. Why? Because there's just so much to do and to take in. I just want to do everything so I can appreciate what they crafted. Rebirth has convinced me that Final Fantasy XVI was a complete joke. I get Final Fantasy VII is the spoiled child of the Square Enix family, but Final Fantasy XVI didn't need to be the neglected middle child. Genuinely, do many people remember this game came out last year? It was hyped up to be Game of the Year when it first came out, and then no one remembered it. And when more memorable games and better made games came out like Baldur's Gate 3, those got remembered easily, and those got Game of the Year nominations. Hell, even Starfield, for how dog water that game was, is more memorable than Final Fantasy 16 was. Even for all the wrong reasons, I still remember more about Starfield than Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 is bland, uninspired, forgettable, boring garbage compared to what both 7 remakes achieve. They understood the assignment of what this series can be, and look, I'm tired of anyone trying to shit on people that dislike Final Fantasy 16 as elitists, that just want Final Fantasy to go back to turn-based combat and all that other bullshit you hear from these brain-rotted critics, quote-unquote, on Twitter. No. Myself and others that criticize this game don't want Final Fantasy to go back to what it was, because that defeats the entire appeal of this franchise, to keep experimenting and trying something new. But people have gaslit themselves into thinking that just because the series can try new things, that it means that we gotta give it a pass whenever it fucks up. That's not how this works. A series can experiment all at once, but if something doesn't work out, it has the right to be criticized just like anything else. I commend 16 for trying something new, but it fails on almost every level. This isn't a discussion about what is Final Fantasy. This is a good game, but not a good Final Fantasy game. Nah, fuck that. That shit is just a cop-out and adds nothing to the conversation. It doesn't matter if Final Fantasy 16 is a good Final Fantasy or not. It matters if it's a good game in general. And as a game by itself on its own merits, I think it just sucks. And it makes me sad. I'm loving my experience with Rebirth. And really hope that this is what the future for Final Fantasy looks like going forward. If future mainline titles are going to follow 16's example, then I don't have much faith in this franchise going forward. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you got to the end of the video, glad you watched it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I just wanted to add in this little bit of an addendum to just kind of add on, because things have changed a little bit. So in the video I mentioned that I hadn't finished the game, and at the time when I was writing the script, I had not finished the game, but I've actually been done with the game for a while now, so that audio is a bit outdated. I just didn't really feel like changing it. But yeah, I did beat FF7 Rebirth a while ago. I'm just on an old save file, just kind of just screwing around while I talk. But my opinions about the game have not changed too much. I still really do think this game is pretty excellent for what it is. I have gotten a few more negative thoughts about Rebirth, in terms of just some of the pacing, the padding, and the story changes they made. It's particularly towards the end of the story. But overall, I still really like FF7 Rebirth, and I think that it's a very good, worthy entry to this franchise, and it's exactly what I was pointing out in my video about what FF16 was not. So I will say I have not played the DLCs of FF16, and I honestly don't care about them whatsoever. I don't know how good they are. I'm really not sure. I've heard varying mixed opinions on the quality, but for the most part, it sounds very unremarkable. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. FF16 in my eyes is still a huge disappointment and a game I never really want to go back to, but you know, FF7 Rebirth is not a game I'm going to be replaying anytime soon either, just because of how long it is. But I can definitely see myself doing another playthrough of this game within a year or two, for sure. It's completing the game has really opened my eyes to the potential of this franchise going forward, and how much love they really did put into this game. And I also think it has a lot to do with the fact that it is okay to reuse some assets. It's okay to have a shorter development time by just kind of cutting down on the graphics for certain areas. Not every single place needs to, you know, be cutting edge graphics and be all about spectacle. 7 Rebirth has spectacle, but it doesn't sacrifice gameplay for it. There are areas where they have really low resolution graphics for certain little things like clocks and stuff, but that's okay because, you know, it's not a huge big deal. Going for the spectacle is not everything, and we really do need to normalize just, you know, just focusing on the gameplay, and that's exactly what Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does. Despite all of its flaws with whatever the story is that I did find that I don't want to say because of spoilers, but yeah, 16 went all for spectacle, and it really did pay the price for that game, and it's the reason why it's as shallow as it is, and I will stand by that. But yeah, I just wanted to add this in at the very end just to say that even after beating FF7 Rebirth, new problems did arise for me, but at the same time, the game I still think is pretty dang excellent, and FF16 is still a very mid game at best, but pretty bad game in my opinion. So yeah, I just wanted to add this in here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna try to upload more times throughout the year instead of just, you know, the typical 2 times a year like I said in the start of the video. But yeah, hope you guys are doing good. Let me know what you guys think. Let's hopefully have a discussion. Don't want to have any Twitter arguments on here in the YouTube comment section. So, thanks you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate the few of you that do watch my videos. And if I get any newcomers, please subscribe. I will be making more just videos, just me rambling. Video essays are going to be very rare for me. I just wanted to talk about FF16 in a more structured way. But yeah, see you guys later.